Hello and welcome to the GhostÉire channel and Vulture. My name's Anthony Kerrigan. I'm from GhostÉire, and tonight we'll be taking an in-depth look into Lough Gur Megalithic Region in County Limerick. So tonight, folks, we'll be running through the history, the haunting or the legend that is associated with Lough Gur. We'll also be taking a look at the base testing, the equipment, the experiments, also a conclusion to each part, and obviously the footage, which we all like to love and see. So if you have any queries, any questions about any of the equipment, experiments, or anything at all, maybe even the footage, please do put it forward to myself, Anthony Kerrigan. We'll be coming through your questions in between each slot, because there's 4 locations tonight in the Lough Gur Megalithic region that we'll be looking at. There's the visitor centre. Also, there is Giant's Grave Wedge Tomb, Lough Gur Shoreline, and the Grange Stone Circle. All inspiring places, all in the heart of County Limerick, and so a place where you must visit as a person. There are other ways you can contact us as well. We'll also go and live stream on our GhostÉire channel. You can also check us out on that. If you have any questions as well, you can also put it to ourselves through our website, which is www.ghostére.net. Go to the contact page, fill in the blanks. If you have a private message, just put in brackets private message. Also, this footage is also up on the YouTube channel we have as well of GhostÉire. You may be able to see it here. Well, you can see it here tonight, but you can also see it in the next few coming days as well. We'll be uploading it onto our GhostÉire page, Facebook page. And if you have headphones, anything that is easy to listen into the footage tonight, please grab them now, because it might be essential in trying to listen to what the recordings have to offer, like EVPs, or if we're calling out. Because it was an investigation we did a couple of years ago. It's the way investigations go. Sometimes the sound might be different, so it's only slightly edited, the footage. So also, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel if you can. So first of all, I'm going to take an in-depth look at a bit of the history first. So just bear with me a minute. So Lough Gur, beautiful region in County Limerick. I'm just going to run through a bit of the history now. Lough Gur, a horseshoe-shaped lake, is located in Ballahora region of County Limerick. There has been a civilization around Lough Gur since the Neolithic period, New Stone Age, dating back to 300 BC. Rectangular and circular structures were built up on Knockadoon Hill from extracting stone, earth and reeds from or near the lake. This site, with many others excavated around the lake, play an important part in the study of how people lived in ancient Ireland. Now that is Lough Gur, and we come to that place around the loch in the third part of this investigation. So I'll just show you a bit more, and we're going to go into the legend now, which is the Earl of Desmond. So there is several folklore stories connected with the lake. Gerald Fitzgerald, 3rd Earl of Desmond, 1335 to 1398, in legend, is said to have an intimate encounter with the goddess of summer, sovereignty, and wealth, Anya. He is said to have took part in magic rituals. In 1398, he disappeared. He is said to sleep in a cave or under Lough Gur. Every 7 years, he appears again, riding along the lake on a white horse with silver shoes on. He will become mortal when the shoes are worn. It will become mortal when the shoes are worn to bring glory back to the Desmonds. Now, there's another part to the legends of Lough Gur. It is rumoured that there is an Atlantis in the waters of Lough Gur. A French engineer, Charles Vallancey, in 1812 stated, "It astonished me to see such immense blocks and rocks underwater when nothing similar is to be found in the vicinity." So there's a little bit of the history and legends of the region of Lough Gur. So now I'm going to take you to one of the locations that we did. And one of these locations, I'll just upload it here, is the visitor centre. So before I do that, turn that off. Turn you back on, show and stream. So the first bit of footage will be coming up soon. And this is in the visitor centre in Lough Gur. Now, it was a warm evening that day, and we started fairly early. So because there was 4 locations we did, the base testing had to be done at 4 locations, and at one of the at the start we actually didn't bring some of the equipment down from Killarney up to Limerick, so we had a bit of trouble. We had to ask somebody to actually bring up the equipment. So I just go through this. So here's a few of the base tests you'll see now on the bottom there. And I'll just go through a bit of the history of just a few of the base tests. Sorry again. So the base tests of the region. Okay, so the current moon phase was waning crescent, 80% of full. Astrological significance. This is to do with astrology. There's abundance of self-confidence going around with Jupiter changing direction while close to the square of Mercury. Everyone feels their powers are unlimited. The forecast was sunny, and the most active area of the whole investigation was the Grange stone circle. Now, the visitor centre. Okay. I'll just go run through a bit of the history of that. But first of all, if you're still with me, I know I might have been a bit silent. First of all, the investigators of the evening. Now, there was 5 people investigating with the team. There's myself, Anthony Kerrigan, 73 investigations. Jennifer Kerrigan, 54 investigations. Lindsay Critchley, 4 investigations. Gemma Critchley, 2 investigations. And Mick Butler, 1 investigation. And so we come to the history of the visitor centre. As you can see on the screen is like a type of, I don't know if it describes a beehive hut. So this was built in 1980. The centre was designed to resemble 2 Stone Age houses excavated nearby. The building was renovated in 2013 and is now in the management of Lough Gur Development. The visitor centre provides audio-visual presentations, touch screens, and audio guides for an outside heritage trail. The centre has numerous artefacts from the Stone Age and Bronze Age on display, along with an impressive replica of a bronze shield. The original, dating from around 700 BC, was found in a local bog below Carrick Alley in 1872. So this is a place, a location, a region which is mostly, it was wonderful to visit, especially, in all types of weather. And I'm going to show you, so first up, we're in the visitors centre. But the base tests, I could just go over the base tests of this location because we forgot the equipment coming up and somebody was coming en route from Killarney to bring the rest of it up. We had very little to go on the base testing. All we had was an EMF meter. And off the EMF meter, there was a reading of up to 1 milligauss due to touch screens, overhead spotlights, projector, and emergency exit lighting. The type of manifestation in the location was intelligent. The time duration was from 5:40 p.m. till 6:25 p.m. So that's less than an hour in the location. The false anomaly risk was moderate and the preface was very good. Okay, so now this is going to be the first bit of footage I'm going to show you tonight, folks. And this is from inside the visitor centre. So if you have any earphones, do please get them, put them forward. I mean, put them on. It might be essential there. Just 1 second. So earphones are essential. And this is part 1 of the Lough Gur Megalithic Region. Asking spirits to come forward this evening. My name's Anthony.
My name's Mick.
My name's Gemma. My name's Lindsay.
My name's Jennifer.
We have Alan, Brian and Pat here. Some of us will be going towards others various sites along the way this evening. If you want to touch one of us, there'll be experiments tonight where you might be able to influence us. Be experiments tonight where you can show us what's inside the area you are in. There'll be experiments tonight where you can give us information.
It doesn't feel like anyone has a touching table.
Come towards us now. Come forth. Maybe associated with rituals. Another site. You might be able to tell us what happened in these rituals. Black box.
Thank you. I can feel you getting stronger. Are you attached to any of the objects in the room?
That was me whispering. Maybe a footstep, maybe a stamp on the floor. Maybe something to resemble something you may have killed or tried to break. The power of how you came towards, how you came to the energies you used in your daily life. Can you step forward? How you wet. If you felt sick as well, symptoms as well, what was it? There's times when you felt pain. There's a little wine there, I don't know, I heard something. But is there a black box associated with you, maybe? There's certain stuff there within this area. We're using ways of, spiritual ways to see what kind of stuff is inside thoughts. You can tell us, give us descriptions. cease. Thank you. You may continue with us the rest of the evening. Thank you. Don't mind that. Okay, so what we saw there was what we saw there was the seance. So I'm just going to read a bit about the seance, what we got there. So with the conclusion, we had an issue when we arrived at Lough Gur Visitor Centre. The majority of the necessary equipment to document the baseline tests and record footage was left at the house. For the first seance, we had to use whatever resources were in the visitor centre to set up and what we brought. Although the visitor centre was locked up, there was a hive of activity outside of the building. The fine weather attracted many folk to the lake. So as you can say from the baseline tests, it was sunny, it was early in the day, and we were only just starting. It was the start of the day. And it was busy outside as well, outside the visitor centre. It took nearly 4 minutes before Anthony's head started to twitch after he called out, "If you want to touch one of us with the experiments tonight, where you be able to influence us with experiments tonight, you can show us what's inside the area you are in." A short time later, Mick commented the cardboard which was being used to connect on the table started to move, which could be seen on the digital camera. Now, because we did have a table we were supposed to bring with us, but we forgot it. We forgot a lot of the equipment, but we improvised and used a piece of cardboard on top of a drum, as you can see there. Later, the cardboard would slant to one side where Anthony and Mick were sitting. The motion of the cardboard on top of the barrel would lessen soon after. The cardboard shifted in potential in relation to the questions. How you talk to your friends, but is there a black box associated with you maybe? Is there certain stuff there? Anthony did remark on a black box earlier in the sitting, however, this doesn't strike a chord. On a couple of occasions when the conversation turned to objects within the room, a tap and a knock were caught on the digital camera. These sounds might have been contributed to unanswerable route with the acoustics in and around the building, the cardboard or individuals walking about as they changed their stance, as some weren't in the focus of the seance. So there was people around the seance as well, people that may have been moving, that might have caused the knocking. It might have been ourselves, it might be the cardboard itself, and it might be just it could be from noise from the building as well because of the heat. When Anthony asked, "How do you eat?" if you felt sick as well, symptoms as well, how did they, what was it? A soft whisper could be heard, but it is very hard to discern and could easily go unnoticed, if not listened back a few times. We believe this to be a female speaking the words "dirty cough," which you might hear on the recording there. There were times when Mick felt astonished during the seance and throughout the evening, most probably because this was his first investigation with the group, and he may have felt at times that human participation was the cause to skepticism. So yeah, when you come across investigations when people first start off, and especially because we're a spiritual team, they might regard something that we're doing there, there'd be a lot of skepticism. Now that's okay as well, as we as you go through, as you're starting off, and as a team, well, more investigations, people get to notice what we do and all that. You know, it's all to do with the psyche, mainly what we do there, and to do if we connect in with the mind. If we have a mind ourselves on this plane, do we carry it over to the next plane? Most probably do, and especially if you've got intelligent spirits coming forward to you, obviously they must carry their mind, their psyche into the other realm. So that's where if we go ourselves as GhostÉire, we don't actually try and find, is the place haunted? We actually act as counsellors and try and find out how the place is haunted, why are they there, what are they doing, what have they been doing, and what they've been eating, and all that kind of stuff. So next up, I'm going to go on to the second part, which is the Giant's Wedge tomb. Now, the evenings we were coming across now the Giant's Wedge tomb. Sorry if I'm muttering around the place now. The Giant's Wedge tomb. It's not that far away from the visitor centre. You can see it in the background there. And I'm just going to go over a bit of the history and a bit of the base test. Now, as I said before, with the 4 locations, we did a base test just before we started the vigils there. Okay, so the Giant's Grave Wedge tomb. This site was excavated in 1938. The skeletal remains of at least 8 adults and 4 children were found mostly in the main chamber of this grave. The bones weren't cremated, but some cremated bones were found. Beaker pottery was found inside the tomb, which might have held the remains of a dead person or food and drink to take into the next world, which was a common custom in the Bronze Age, roughly around 2500 BC. The tomb consists of a gallery at a length of 8.5 meters. The gallery is divided into smaller parts into a small western chamber, known as a portal entrance, and the main chamber by a large stone, referred to as a septal slab. The septal slab closes off the main chamber. The portal narrows inwards, measuring at a length of 1.75 meters. The main chamber is 6.5 meters and decreases in height from west 1.3 meters to east 0.7 meters. 4 large capstones rest on the side walls. It is probable that the tomb was covered by a mound of rough stones. The bones of an ox were found outside the main chamber. The animal may have been used as an offering to a deity. The Giant's Grave tomb was once a home to an elderly lady for many years, as described in a report in the early 19th century. Now I'll just go over the base tests here. Now we've got our equipment back. The person who had come back from Killarney over to Limerick and brought the equipment with us. So here's a bit of the base tests done at the Grange. So here's a bit of the base test done at the, obviously, the Giant's Grave Wedge tomb. So EMF, there was a reading of up to 1 milligauss due to power lines and possible limestone. The external temperature was 25.9 degrees Celsius, so it was still warm and it was still hot. Humidity was 55%. The lux was 333. So there's a fair bit of light still left, as you will see in the footage. The decibel level, A low was 33.7, A high was 63.7, C low was 33.7, and C high was 63.7. So relatively kind of quiet, really, in the area, although it is very close to a road, a secondary road. Type of manifestation, intelligent. Time duration, 9:30 p.m. till 10:45 p.m. False anomaly risk was very high because we were outside, and the preface was moderate. So we go to the footage, and this is of the Wedge tomb. Now it's still, as I said before, there it's as I said before, it was still daylight. We're still it was still daylight. It was still bright. The light was it was still bright. Now, 2 of the team go into the Wedge tomb themselves, Jennifer and Gemma, And the experiments use here as a permission board and the talking board whilst they're inside the Wedge tomb. So here it is. This is Lough Gur Megalithic Region, and this is part 2. If you can call out, I give permission for the other side too. No, that means you don't say what it is. Be ready to see them. Come towards us now, step forward. Use this to show how you're going to kind of affect Jen. Hear these words, hear these cries, spirit from the other side, come to me, I summon thee, cross now the great divide, come towards us, step forward. Change your fingers. Call out again, Jen, if you can. Call again out, Jen. Can you lay down? Alright. You get zoned out. Okay, what we could do?
What's that? Show me over.
Yeah. Might change. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes there, Jan. Alright, just give it a couple of minutes there. Actually, I need to fucking call.
I get the sense of feeling that there's hands coming up from the ground trying to pull you down.
Did you feel anything in there?
But I felt like hands gonna grab you, wander around,
Okay.
like pull you down probably.
Right, and is there anything on the skin or anything?
Well, 'cause it's all kind of
Yeah,
scratchy
itchy.
down there, isn't it?
Yeah, okay, it's fine.
Then
Okay, dear spirit. What makes you come here? Annette, if you're around, just keep an eye on if there's anyone.
With a bouncer.
Yeah. Alright. Energize. We need a bigger board, I think. Can you tell us what makes you come here? What position? You're okay with it? What over there? We're fine. Okay. What makes you come here? Fairly energized.
That means that you people should.
Doesn't want to communicate. Or it's directing us somewhere. Can you move it to a letter, spirit guys? Can you answer for us? What is the spirit? What makes it come here? What makes R O U N D A N D R O U N D W E G O. What do you use to cook? I W I L L T A L K N O W. Okay. What do you use to cook? Which deity provides prosperity? Me. Who is buried in the Wedge tomb? Strong. Y O U.
An angry person.
Yeah.
Who are you?
My name's sorry if I've got to introduce myself. My name's Anthony.
My name's Mick.
I'm Lindsay.
Gemma in the Wedge tomb.
What's your name?
P I C K T H E O N E. What would you like to say? G O B O N W.
Go down where? Go down where?
W I T H T H E M.
Oh, you've got. No. Was it Jen? That was. No. That wasn't a nice feeling.
Was it a bad spirit, was it? But the energy you can feel off it was it pulling away from your hand, though? You know that's a bad energy. Pulling away, it's real strong, like.
Yeah.
Angry?
Not a bad ending,
I don't know,
Yeah.
angry.
Yeah,
Maybe
probably
angry.
just angry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say it was a bad ending.
No.
You don't know their circumstances.
No.
Shiver me timbers. Oh, sorry, come on.
Oh, I heard a whistle to the left of me.
I heard the whistle as well,
Yeah.
but I don't know, it was the board. I didn't get it now on camera because
There was an owl up there.
yeah.
But sometimes you. That was me now. So what did you feel in there?
I'm assuming it was a fly, but like the whole time I was in there was like a whirring in my right ear.
Alright.
Just in my right ear.
A worm.
Hmm?
Oh, just something in your right ear, was it?
Yeah, like a whirring, kind of like a
Alright.
thing. And I'm assuming it was a fly, but it kept coming back the whole time. So.
Right.
And then at one point I was laying in there, and I felt like there was like a weight
Right.
on my chest or something.
Right.
And I was kind of like.
Okay.
Yeah. That was.
That's about it, really. Okay. Alright, interesting. Okay, folks. So that was the second part of the investigation, and that was at the Giant's Wedge tomb there. Now, I'll just go over a bit of the experiments that we used there and a bit of the results that came through on that part there, just to go over that might just show what happened. So thankfully, the suitcase of equipment had arrived by the time we made it to the Giant's grave Wedge tomb. Jen laid down with her back on the ground inside the tomb. 15 minutes in, she was getting the feeling of hands coming up from the ground, pulling her down. The permission board with the rest of the team eventually disclosed that Jen would be affected through her perspiration. So that's type of like sweating. This didn't seem to happen, nor was there any enterprise in the first talking board segment. Gemma swapped roles with Jen. So Gemma went into the Wedge tomb, Jen came out of it. Gemma described in her term in the Wedge tomb, she could hear a whirring sound in her right ear at one point, a weight on her chest. Unknowingly to each other, Jen and Gemma profile being pulled or pushed down. In essence, a link to pressure approaching the ground of the tomb. So one was pulled down and the other was pushed down. Either way, it was coming down. You know, so there's they're identical what they both found in the Wedge tomb. During Jen's stint in the separation experiment, a deep sounding voice, presumably male, said, "You busts," or "new busts." As a noun, the spirit could be referring to Jen's chest around the bosoms, or sculpture of a person's head, shoulders and chest. That's what the word bust means. The word bust in Latin is bustum, which means tomb interment or a sacred relics monument. Now, we're at the Wedge tomb, so this might have something to do with the name bustum or bust. In Latin, it means bust. Just over the road from the tomb at the former house of John Hunt, 1900 to 1976, and his wife, Gertrude, both collected a valuable collection of ancient artifacts. Many can be seen in the Hunt Museum in Limerick City today, and a bust in memory of John Hunt can be found at Bunratty Castle. The Hunt family was said to have kept 2 Virgin Mary statues in their porch of the house. They weren't far from superstition. Locals are believed to have prayed at the monuments in hope that their sick animals would recover. So this is the house across the way from the Wedge tomb, as you've seen on the background of this live and on the footage you've just seen. As a verb, busts mean break, burst or split. The spirit might be drawing attention that we were in a process of theft, probably making a comparison to the treasure seekers who were apparently reported in 1833 to have visited the Wedge tomb, unearthing it in trying to make a profit. So the Wedge tomb was they robbed the Wedge tomb of its artifacts in 1833. This might be the reason the second token board period got a bit disorderly, not the typical conventional outcome, but willing to put forward a declaration. Anthony called out, "What do you use to cook?" A different answer came back. And as you saw on the footage there, it said, "No, I will talk now." The spirit showed that they were in control, and talk they visibly did. When Lindsay asked, "Go down where?" an outstanding light masculine voice could be heard possibly saying, "Who else is there?" We don't know if this was a form of mocking or querying. In the break, changing over from the talking board to the permission board, when a debate was happening among the group to whether the spirit was angry, after Jen shared some sympathy saying, "You don't know their circumstances," and Lindsay replied, "No," that a clear male voice, speaking slowly, possibly trying to pronounce the words, said, "My insistent head is gone," or "My cyst in head is gone." As you see, there's an EVP there at the end of that piece of footage. We believe it is their mindset, presently free from a demanding nature, a change in personality for the better. Though if the spirit meant the second response, it could be declaring that in the burial chamber that the head is missing, which means cyst, a part of the body or part of the tomb. Anthony raised the possibility that he heard a whistle shortly after. At that point, if we asked some questions again on the token board, we would have expected to have got a more constructive reaction. Finally, it was presumed the grass had moved to take my memory for me to wander on the permission board in the method of influence towards Gemma in the Wedge tomb. So on the permission board, it said it would take Gemma's head to wander. This might be an indication that the spirit is conscious in thought, very much aware, and maybe showing Gemma in the humming in the ear a symptom of possible titinus, hearing sound when no external sound is present. This can be caused from noise-induced hearing loss, brain tumours, ear infections, disease of the heart and blood vessels, and could happen as a result to a previous head injury and depression. Did this lead to the spirit's ill health and passing from our world? So that's the second part there. So this is to do with probably the spirit that was down there, maybe had a problem with the head, problem thinking, and to do with the Wedge tomb was robbed of all the artifacts there in 1833. And then probably the spirit that was coming through was probably angry towards us, didn't want us there, but probably was willing to talk then afterwards once there was a bit of sympathy shown to it. So now we'll take you on to the Lough Gur shoreline. This is part 3, and this is a interesting part of the investigation. Now it starts to get dark in the on the investigation, and I go into the water myself, and I submerge myself in the lake, and we do a type of channeling experiment. So I'll just go over the bit of the history of the shoreline. Just a brief bit of that. So Lough Gur is regarded as a shallow lake. Its maximum depth is 3.80 meters. In 1847, the water level was lowered due to drainage work, leaving hundreds of ancient artifacts uncovered. An artificial circular-shaped island named Boulon Island was built in the early Middle Ages, otherwise known as Crannoch, from cran and oak, both Irish words for tree and young respectively. It was constructed using stones, branches off trees and soil. So that's probably where we get the mini Atlantis from, going back to a little island on Lough Gur on the lake. So here's the part 3 of the Lough Gur Megalithic Region, and this is where things start to get a bit more interesting. I'll just go over the base test. Sorry, just go over the base test quickly. So we're at the shoreline. There was an EMF, a reading of up to 0.5 milligauss due to possible power lines. External temperature was still at 21.2 degrees Celsius, so still warm. Humidity was at 57%. Now the lux was down to 0.19, just 19, which is the darkness had come in. The A low decibel level was 33.9. The A high was 64.0. The C low decibel level was 34.0. And the C high reading was 64.0. The type of manifestation was intelligent. The time duration was from 11 p.m. till midnight. The false anomaly risk was high, and the pre-fest was moderate. So things are starting to get darker. And this is Lough Gur Megalithic Region, where myself, Anthony Kerrigan, goes into the water while the rest of the team do experiments outside. Now I can't hear, obviously my head is fully submerged under the water. I can't hear what the team is saying or asking. And here it is. Fine, right, fine, right, be ready to start.
You ready?
Yeah.
What permission do you give Anthony? He gives permission to you. What will be your section was? my surroundings and I'll alter yours. Right.
Okay. Well, you won't move straight away, that won't you?
See, when the light's on it though, like this can't read it. Board. Yeah, that's fine there.
Oh, let me check it.
Yeah.
Grass is getting wet, isn't it?
Yeah, we're gonna probably get a bit of...
Okay, what makes you comfortable? I have to take it off
Yeah,
because
I
you
can't see.
Oh, that's fine.
What do you use to cook?
Minutes left.
What does be in your thoughts?
The light. If you just move the light away a tiny.
Very nice house this way, isn't it?
Strange outside.
What do you know about the Northman?
You just kick the light. H.
forward just a small bit more.
Yeah.
What would their name be?
It was coming our way a minute ago.
Actually going in towards him. You see that mist going into him?
It's if you look above the if you look above
Going straight into that box.
if you look above the box as well, you can see it coming out the top there. I mean, it was coming our way a minute ago. Well, Jen's way.
I can get it now on the camera there. Just leave him in there for a minute.
If there's anyone here, would you be able to set up the K2 meters? If you're around Anthony, will you be able to set up the K2 meters?
It's amazing. You know what, Anto? You can see the mist going straight into that box.
Yeah. It's kind of going to the left of it now.
Yeah.
Alright, you still recording?
Yeah.
I felt something on my hand. That was wet. It felt like it was like a woman.
Yeah. Wow.
Like a red bus. Yeah. It was being bottom.
Well, on the
Sort of blondish, kind of darkish. Not totally, not blonde like your blonde.
oh, that's a great one for the camera.
It was like something like take my hand.
But they said they seen
Take my hand.
they got red bones.
Red bone.
Red bone.
Yeah.
Right, so it's all red, a red.
Yeah.
Red. Top. Just already feel a bit. Yeah.
Frozen.
No, it's really good. I've got nothing to do there. Got the towel ready, got the towel ready for me. Would anyone put the towel on?
Where's the torch on? Where's the torch on? Oh.
Okay, so that was Lough Gur part 3. And that was myself in the lake shoreline. Now it's better heard with earphones. I'll just go over a summary of what happened there. So at the Lough Gur shoreline, the third area, as Anthony lay on his back submerged underwater, it was assured that the environment would change around him. The past would re-emerge with the way Jen put the question on the permission board. On the talking board, as Jen called out, what does being a thoughts? Now, it could be thoughts, how they interpreted that question, that word, thoughts, as in mind, or thoughts as in a fort, a stronghold, a castle. The glass moves to REDBONES, red bones. The question has a mixed purpose with thinking and the spirit contemplating. We could go as far to say this might have transcended into Anthony's head as well. When he stepped up out of the water, it described a dark blonde-haired woman with a red dress and a green bottom, saying, "Take my hand." The colour red was prominent in both examinations, as Anthony said about a red bust, somebody with a red bust, going back to bust again as well. The red bones might have been covered in blood. Returning to the question, and if it was aimed at forts, as in structure, stronghold, fortress, fortified building, maybe red bones were associated with the Wedge tomb we had earlier been at. The charred bones found at that location, which was red, charred, possibly. Jen asked, what do you know about the Norsemen? Norsemen also meaning Northmen, as in Scandinavia. Apparent were the words HECEAPSTEMOVE. In Latin, hes means tire, and apsti, when translated into English, is stand. A tired stand move might have occurred before a battle. Vikings did plunder the Lough Gur community. Boucher's castle by the lake shore was at one stage under siege during the Irish Confederate Wars, 1641 to 1653. Many people died of starvation and disease. Okay, so what was probably we coincided there was the what came up on the board was red bones, and what came into my head unknowingly was red bust and a sort of green body. So it was all to do with the colour red, which is interesting. So for the fourth and final part, we go on to the Grange stone circle, a large stone circle in this was a part of the investigation. Now it's a less area to go to in the investigation, and it's very close by. It's all with it, all the areas, the visitor centre, the Giant's Wedge tomb, the Lough Gur Lake, and the Grange stone circle were all within, I suppose, about 2 to 3 kilometres of each other. So this is a Grange stone circle. This is the history to it. The largest stone circle in Ireland, built around 2200 BC during the Bronze Age, and is one of the 3 in the locality. The diameter of the circle is 45.7 meters and is formed by a total of 113 slabs. The largest stone, Rannoch cum Dark Croak Division, it means, weighs over 40 tons and stands at a height of 2.5 meters from the ground, extending roughly underneath a further 1.5 meters, and was transported from 8 kilometers away. There is a stone-lined entrance to the northeast. Crowds of people might have gathered on the bank to witness special ceremonies inside the circle. On the longest day of the year, summer solstice, the sun shines directly into the center of the circle. During excavations in 1939, beaker pottery and arrowheads were obtained, along with a wide range of animal bones, such as cattle, sheep, red deer, pig, horse, dog, hare, poultry, and jackdaw. Interesting. All found from underneath the bank or within the stone circle. So we'll just go over a quick line of the final base tests with this location. So the EMF was a reading of up to 1 milligauss due to power lines and possible limestone. The external temperature was 25.9 degrees Celsius. Now I would have picked up there the temperature outside, mainly because we were away from the lake and we were probably It's it's still warm at that temperature, 25.9 degrees Celsius. As you can see there in the footage, I'm wearing a t-shirt and I've just come out of the water. Humidity is 55%. The lux is, interestingly, 333. I don't know what the reason was the lux. Maybe it's to do with because we need lighting down there. That actually the lighting caused the lux to be higher. The decibel level: A low 33.7, A high 63.7, C low 33.7, C high 63.7. Now that's fairly. That means it's fairly quiet around the area. Type of manifestation is intelligent. Time duration was 9:30 p.m. till 10:45 p.m. The false anomaly risk was very high because we were outside. There was insects around the place, noise traveling from around the area could cause false readings, false results on the equipment, and the preface was moderate. So now we go and show you now the fourth and final part of the investigation, and this is inside the Grange stone circle, and it's fairly dark, and Jennifer has left the investigation. She has gone home with one of the person who brought up the equipment, and we do a bit of table tilting, a bit of calling out. We've got the K2 meters right inside the stone circle, and this is it, the final part. Lough Gur Megalithic Region, part 4. How many points would that have, the birth? We'll try the birth one and we'll see if we can get. Sorry, that start at the beginning.
You need to step forward. Use the energy if you were with anybody that the energy if you were with anybody that step forward. Step forward. You associated with the wizard or rituals that happen. Rituals that happen here. Summer solstice. Beaver pot. Animal bones. The arrowhead. So when you step forward, you use the energy. We'd like you to rotate this table, slant it to one side, build it up, come forth, hold it, please. Come and step forward. Use the energy. Isis, Demeter, Hegate, Kali, Diana, Anana. Step forward. Use the energy. Want you to lift this table up in the air, above the stone circle if you can. Push it up. Rotate it. Make it sound with your voice. Make yourself be seen. Make us see you. Feel you. Thank you. Come and step forward. Use the energy. Come towards us, step forward. Isis, Demeter, Hegate, Kali, Diana, Anana. Isis, Demeter, Hegate, Kali, Diana, Anana. Come and step forward. Use the energies. Move this table. I want you to pick out 2 description cards that are associated with this area. This particular area. This is a glass. This material, this object you can use to move. Our spirit guides can ask you to move this glass towards 2 particular descriptions of what's in this area. And then step forward. Two particular. What's that? No, I didn't know that. Positive active energy. That means I just hit that one. Right.
Can't see it.
Yeah, can't see it. It's towards the, because it's not recorded.
Yeah.
Can you see it now or?
No.
No. Okay, so it's positive active area energy there. And one more card, if you can pick it out.
You don't move it out yourself.
Hmm?
You don't force that in yourself.
No, I'm not forcing it on myself. No. Not forcing that, it's moving. Well, whatever's moving it there, like. Okay. Can you move it more directly? Just touch the card. There. Right. We'll try the birth one and we'll see if we can get that there anyway. See if we try that one. How many points would that have, the birth? How many corners does it have? I think so, but it's movement, isn't it? Maybe this birth. Probably sit down again. I'll try to change it over anyway again. Maybe I'll change the unit just in
Yeah,
case.
of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to hold them. Something over there, definitely over there.
I thought I heard like a small
stone
bang
wall.
or something, but
I just hear mumbling sounds.
Watch the camera there, bro. Can you step forward? Use the power of the sky, the sun, the stars, the moon, the planets. One step forward. Use the energies. One step beyond.
it's supposed to look okay.
There's definitely fucking people over there again.
Maybe if we just do a seance, so I can just turn the lights off.
Yeah.
Maybe just no light. You come and step forward. That's it. It's wobbling.
It's supposed to look.
I don't know if that's the table just can't be straight. I'm not feeling it shaking at all. Is
So,
it?
I hear it
Feels like
squeaking.
it's coming from there. I'm not feeling any movement there, like.
I can hear it squeaking. It's not now.
It sounds like you're right. You step forward. Maybe you're being masked here. Maybe a worn mask.
ceremony.
Hmm?
For ceremonies and stuff.
Ceremony. I've lost it now.
Yeah, I'm absolutely freezing.
Yeah.
I keep getting goosebumps as well.
He's shrouded.
Can you knock once, please? Can you make a sound, please? Copy me.
I mean, whisper in my ear.
The head is thin forward. Under this is out. I wouldn't skip something like that. Shadows.
I got like a space over it.
I heard, and I might just hear that. I just come into the head of shadows. There might be a cold breeze. Ooh, that's cold. Can you make the sound again of something being broken?
Can you touch one of us?
Someone hold my hand. I don't mean you any harm.
I see something smiling. Just getting in my head is just something's happening over there.
By the rock.
Yeah, something's going to happen there.
Oh, I hope we knocked the lights off. I've been on there for the last hour and a half.
See,
The candle.
Yeah.
do you think we should go
So if we
over
suddenly
there?
went out, well then we'd know there was something
Yeah.
done, like, you know.
They did something over there, like something.
Do you think we should go over there?
No, we'll just give it another 2 minutes and then I said we'll leave it there. I think we're good with the light
Yeah.
off, actually.
How can we know you're here? Just give us a sign.
It's just my jaw dropped.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's like just a memory of just like something, just the feeling of something just tipping at your chin just a bit down.
It's my stomach.
Can we put the note in it?
No, it's that impression that something's been pressed, that you have no control, that there's something, the top bit, underneath your tongue.
Yeah.
Just like, it's ready, I don't know, it's just something ready.
Someone trying to talk to you, maybe.
I just don't know, like, it's just weird, like,
Just icy cold.
Yeah, it is. It is. Really cold. Are you over there beside the candle? In the very corner there, you look like it looks like a shadow there. Is that you? Or one of your friends? Are you afraid to come out behind the shadow?
Yeah, that one is already gone now. Yeah.
Can you make a thud? Bang! So we know you're here. So quiet.
just that's myself there talking, but if you just, I don't know what to do. If you just, if I lose control, just stick the light off.
Mhm.
You usually just shine the light on.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, you asked for it to be in a light, it's a light.
seen that as well now. I don't know, I think it's canvas.
Can you see it again?
Can you show us that bright light again? Whizzing past us. You know, so dark.
Did you just go,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm twitching like shit like
I know. I'm watching you on the camera and your head is just going side to side.
Just continue there, won't you? Then I can call them out.
I don't know, I just keep seeing something over there, that stone there on the right hand side of it. Maybe it's just a shadow, like, I'm sure. Oh, shooting star.
Yeah, was that
Yeah,
there
over
then
there.
above the trees?
Yeah,
Look at that.
it was very bright light,
Yeah.
unless that was them. You were trying to show us yourselves in the sky. Where are you? There's a huge sky earlier on.
Like the deity you worship.
You worship the sky.
Use the sound of the voice.
Are you using the stars to show us yourself?
We met a lady called Rachel earlier. She worshiped the sky.
Come on, show us yourself again.
Ice cold.
Yeah. Freezing.
That's me breathing.
Please, walk towards them.
My legs are like this.
Freezing.
Come towards us now. If that's you, bring that energy in. Come and step forward. Hear these words, hear these cries, spirit from the other side. Come to me, I summon thee across night, the great divide. If you're making shadows over by the big stone there, can you come towards us? Make bangs on the table, thuds.
Got a lot.
Many of them here. Visited us doing living here.
Man, now,
Yeah, it's not gone ice cold there. It's ice cold there.
Stop the tape.
Can you light up the lights beside the table? Come on.
Did you hear like a clicking noise or a clapping noise a minute ago? Kind of from diagonally behind Anthony.
That was somebody touching your leg there. Oh, that was a bit weird now. The bottom of your leg.
One step forward. That's Kerala. GhostÉire.
Oh. Wow. Thank you.
Just wait a second just to see if we can hear anything. Right.
Negative there, though.
No?
No, absolutely not. Come towards us, step forward. In the light I see, in the dark I am blind, in a world that I walk in a circle of skies. Come towards us now, step forward. Use the energies. You can do more than move the table. You can bang on the table, lift it up from underneath, or the top. Lift it up from the top. Cold breeze again. Come and step forward. That's excellent. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Hand clap. Appreciation. Maybe there were crowds here. Maybe there was. Maybe there was games that were played here. Was there animals killed here? Not rituals, but a sort of game. Maybe you can make a sound of the pottery being broken. Come towards a step forward. There's two boxes here. Maybe you can come towards them. Grey boxes. Go towards Lindsay, over the other side of the stone circle. Oh, jeez, yeah, something's going to happen over there.
Here.
That's precarious. Are you over there? Are you over there? Come towards us now, step forward. Levitate this table, lift it up in the air. Do you want the sound of the fucking drum there, like this? Do you want the sound of the drum? Towards us now, that's vibrant, something over that area. Do you go towards the candles, the candles there?
Go towards Lindsay, if you want to talk to her.
Go towards Lindsay, say something to her. Ice cold, Lindsay.
Okay, I'm doing it again.
Cold breeze. Sorry, it's smiling over there.
By the camera.
Smiling, yeah. Nothing bad. Okay, maybe since do the Wedge tomb earlier, maybe should we be learning a lot from you? That's fucking turning.
Yeah. Gee, I thought you jumped around there, didn't it?
Call it out, sis, if you're feeling anything. You okay? Children, that's it. Is there any children here? Might be some stuff down here. Is there any children here? We'll just get what she's doing now. We'll just record afterwards there, like if she's just there. Is there anything, such thing as the gorgon, the water? Oh, my book like this, look. Orchids again.
Yeah, I was going to think it's cold down.
Just worried about that.
Bro, solid.
Forward. Maybe you want to make heat. Is it cold down here? Was there a particular area in the fort which was more warmer than the other area? Was there more to do with fire? Festival in May again, Luna, was it? What was it called? No, May.
Oh, Delta.
Delta, yeah, that's what it's another one. No, it's August, isn't it? August. Augusta.
Sorry guys, I just hear something behind.
You're hearing stuff? You okay, sis? Stars. What can we learn? What way can we live? Our diet, the way who we worship, how we talk, how we communicate, how we live, how we build. Coming to a sour grape. how do we celebrate? What did you get? What did you feel anything?
I felt that there was something over there.
Oh, is he alright?
Actually, earlier when you were talking about the cameras or whatever, I thought I heard like a beep kind of thing over in the same direction.
Kind of over there.
Mm.
The right of the stone, is it?
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I was asking if there was any clues on it, because it's imagine a child
Hiding
behind the stone. Hiding seek.
Okay, so that's the last part of the investigation that was down at the Grange Stone Circle. So I'm just going to go over a bit of the results. Bit of the results there, and so the Grange Stone Circle. Sorry there, folks. Just the Grange Stone Circle. Was close to the Aranacrum Dubstone. Gemma was using the K2 meters for spirit communication. Now, instead, like the K2 meters, we used these there. You can see that they're on poles there. We used them around the actual table there, planted into the ground, just to see if there was any activity. With the K2 meters, instead of monitoring how frequent the lights went off, we actually measured the actual break in between where there was no activity to see if there was any link, any pattern. The meters did flicker with a brief supply of acceptable stillness, but in such a short space of time, identical, consistent readings, probably mainly due to disturbances from mobile phones, it was not regarded as potential evidence. As we did do a Facebook Live that evening there, this may have contributed to the EMF meters, the K2 meters going off. Staying in the same area with the table tilted after over a minute of movement, the table became still after Anthony called out, "Maybe you can see us." This is likely to have importance if they can or can't, and through whose eyes, if that do they see. So can they see us, or if they can see us, or if they can't, or whose eyes do they see through? All the team made comments of cold, icy breezes and air at the Grange Stone Circle. They also felt freezing and chilly. There was a difference between what is sensed with a draft and how the body copes physically with temperature loss. Both could be expected because of the hot conditions early on in the day and the sudden drop of heat in the atmosphere. The team moved from the Aranacrum Standing Stone. Description cards were introduced. Those were the cards you might have seen on the table. The positive active area card was picked first. This is realized as being vibrant and busy, possessing trail of past memories. So it was a positive active area as suggested by the cards. The second description card was birth. There might have been cases at the Stone Circle site being used to welcome a baby into the new world. Lindsay, the lady you saw in the cloak, that was Lindsay. Lindsay was picking up on children hiding from her by the Aranacrum Standing Stone in separation, calling out Vigil 3. Most probable, the card was chosen because of its association with dawn, rise, and arrival, and with the alignment of the standing stones on the summer solstice at sunrise. At one point, Anthony is thought to have said, "Stop. No, I didn't move it." Did he direct this towards Mick, or would shortly quiz him about his attachment on the glass? If so, how did he know about what was about to come out of Mick's mouth? What was it him actually talking, or maybe a spirit was talking through him? If it was a spirit, they seemed completely dissatisfied in coming forward furthermore on the glass. Now that's if a spirit was coming through myself. At times it had been muted that noises were heard during table tilting and seances, vigils, sessions. One weighted comment came from Mick at the second seance. He thought the sound of a plate breaking could be heard. Remnants of beaker pots were found by archaeologists at the site. It is believed that the pottery was broken as a ritual when the stone circle was finished being built. So there was lots of pottery, broken pottery found around the Grange stone circle. Owen script symbols were declared by Anthony to be coming into him as a vision. So I was seeing Owen script in my mind. The Owen script dates back to around the 4th century, very much later in date to when the Grange stone circle was erected. There were notions put by some of the team, considerable amount being positive. Anthony picked up on smiling, nothing bad or negative, and celebration. All of these are ordinary remarks could easily be recognised with this type of landmark, but he did pick up on something finding over by the Rannoch Crumdub standing stone. So that's where I was sensing it was over by the big standing stone. There was something going to happen over there, which Gemma agreed with, but Lindsay didn't seem to be afraid down in that same area. Gemma talked about seeing a dark opening after the end of the 3rd seance. With candles lit by Rannoch Crumdub stone, it could be their eyes playing tricks for the majority of the team, who described seeing shadows or white lights at that particular spot. As you can see in the distance, there's loads of candles in that area. That's probably our eyes were playing tricks. Understandable, as the standing stone was the only lit area and everyone else within around the stone circle was pitch black. Also, with Anthony describing something was going to happen over there, might have created a comfort zone with the obvious observations of shaded shapes being made, drawn away from what was happening from the sounds, but it wasn't to be. You know, so it could be like a comfort zone, like saying there might be something in the other room. Psychologically, you could be saying, you know, trying to avoid what's happening actually in the present area you're in. Mick felt the bottom of his leg being touched, and Anthony was conscious of an impression around his throat, similar to experience that had happened to him on a previous investigation. He was vigilant to this, and under other circumstances, he might have been occupied. So this was to do with myself at a previous investigation, and sort of what you could say is possession, but otherwise people would say could be channeling as well. Anthony's head could be seen twitching at times. You see my head twitch a lot. Most notably, it was in the second seance as he was focused, keeping silent at the table, with the rest of the team calling out for spirit to disclose itself by the candles at Rannoch Crumdub standing stone. As for the 3rd seance, the spasms got more frequent when he asked for the spectre to talk to Lindsay over by Rannoch Crumdub standing stone. There were more rotations with the table in the 3rd seance, with Anthony and Gemma connected on the table. Although the table had a tendency to move towards the person sitting opposite Anthony, it did at one time make a spontaneous move towards Anthony's left-hand side, which you see on the footage there. Now, anything with table tilting or seances, it can be discredited as a person is connected onto it. Along with any other divination experiments with human influence, it can always be explained. The table was energetic in this period. Even one of the K2 meters at one end of the was at the end of a beating, giving off a dubious readout when the table knocked into the post which the meter was fastened to. As you can see, the K2 meter flickers a few lights, and maybe it's because it got hit into that it was causing it to flicker. This can only be acceptable as a false reading. The night had ended. Daylight soon followed. There was a charm with the Lough Gur Megalithic Region, which pages go back as far, and we are sure are to continue on. So there you go, folks. Thanks for watching and listening there. I just got one question. It's Irene. Hi, Irene. How are you doing? How are you doing, California? And Irene wants to know, would you be able to spend a night there at the Lough Gur Megalithic Region. And yes, well, the visitor centre, you can go in and it's fairly cheap, and there's I'm guaranteed there's loads of places to stay in around the area. It's I think Fermoy is close to where the area is, and it's not that far off Limerick City either. So there is it is a good. It's great for a day out for the family and for the kids, and even to explore yourself. There's loads of archaeological sites to visit in and around the area. So that is about it there, folks. There, I just wanted to say there. Now, in next week we've got Erica Gowman coming on to talk with us. That's next Thursday. And thanks for tuning in tonight, folks. There, and we'll probably do this there in another time there with another location. So all I've got to say is Bíonn Margaret, Gus Go Margaret, Slán Foil, and I won't see you next time. I'll see you in the near distance, and goodbye for now. Bye bye.